Day 3 of our cookie trifecta. Today, July 3rd, we're doing chocolate wafers today. Never did chocolate wafers before. This one really interests me, this recipe. What we try to do is when we obviously do so many cookies, if you've been following along, so many different cookies versions we try of different stuff. But so many of them have so many different techniques. Sometimes the cookie batter is real runny, like a cake batter, like the other day. Sometimes the batter is stiff, like a chocolate chip cookie dough, you know what I mean, that you roll. Some are you roll and cut, some you just scoop and drop. So it's really, you know, kind of mixed up, or we try to at least mix it up so you're not always doing the same type of cookie all the time. Try these different techniques. Today, we're making our dough in our food processor. That's how interesting this one is today. It almost seems like when we make our homemade pie crust, it's that kind of a dough. So this is going to be really interesting technique. I'm anxious to try this one. You roll it into a log, refrigerate it so it gets nice and hard, and then you slice it real thin, and that's how you bake your dough. So this seems kind of cool. So very few ingredients, easy to do, and the fun thing about this, there's a fun thing you can do with these wafers afterwards, which we'll show you at the very end of this video today. Alrighty, so here's what you need for today. Let's get started. I just keep blabbering and blabbering and blabbering. Okay, for our chocolate wafers today, we need 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 cups of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, 14 tablespoons of unsalted butter, slightly softened, 3 tablespoons of whole milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So first thing we're going to do in our food processor is put our dry ingredients, okay? So we're going to put our flour, our sugar, our cocoa powder, our salt, and our baking soda, okay? So you put those things in there first, give it a little bit of a pulse, give it a pulse just to kind of mix these together, okay? And then next, take your butter, cut it into pats, and just kind of drop them into your processor here, okay? This is like I said, when you make a pie dough, although with the pie dough your butter is supposed to be really, really firm, this is kind of softened a little bit. It's still pretty firm, the butter, but when you do the pie crust, it's supposed to be really cold, just to keep it all together. But I think this is going to have the same effect, that it's going to get crumbly like that pea texture they tell you. It looks like little peas when it all comes together. I think that's going to be the same type thing here. So just pulse it. Oh, I should put my cup in so it stops flying all over the place. Anyway, finally, take your vanilla, add it to your milk, and what you're going to do now with your processor running is drizzle it in to here, and it's going to clump up like the dough, and it should anyway, and then it's all going to become a ball in there. Alrighty? Let's see if this works like it's supposed to. See? It clumps up into this big dough. Perfect. Okay? So we're just going to get this out of here, and we're going to put it into a bowl just to make sure we mix it by hand, just to make sure everything got incorporated, okay? Be right back. Okay, see, I just want to show you. Sometimes, even when you're mixing it, on the bottom, it doesn't seem like it's a little floury because maybe the very bottom didn't get mixed in. So that's why you're going to put this in a bowl, and you're going to just press it all together by hand to make sure that your dough got really all mixed together, okay? Okay, so that's all now mixed together. As you can see, it's a nice ball of dough we got here. So now what I'm going to do, on a piece of parchment paper, I'm just going to shape this into a log. Now, kind of keep in mind how big you want your cookies to be. I don't know how much these spread out, of what we're going to be doing is slicing it. So I would imagine if that's what this is telling us to do, they may not spread out that far. I could be wrong, they may. But I want to give a good idea of, you know, how big of a cookie that you want. So I guess shape your log accordingly, okay? And then I'm just going to wrap this and kind of roll it, just because I want more of a uniform round cookie. Twist the ends of this. You can probably do this with plastic wrap too, and just, you know, twist the ends, and maybe that would help keep it. But anyway, there's my dough going into the fridge for at least an hour or so. We want to get this really firm so it's nice and steady when you slice it. It doesn't all crumble apart or fall apart. So we want to make sure it's hard enough that we're able to slice it. Alrighty? See you in about an hour or so when we get ready to throw these in the oven. Okay, so there's our dough right out of the fridge. It's pretty hard. It hardened up nicely. Okay? So, but we still have that flat bottom, so I'm going to try to see if I can roll this more into a roll. Flatten out the bottoms too. Okay. Just because you really want a nice log shape if possible. I guess they'll probably even out. Okay. Anyway, let's get started here. Serrated knife. Okay, make sure serrated because that'll help cut these a little easier. Got my parchment lined baking sheets. And what we're going to do is just slice this and try to make it as thin as possible, because that's the whole idea of a wafer. Alrighty, so I mean you can go as thin or as thick as you want, but I'm thinking kind of thin would be better. We'll see. I'm going to cook. I have some pieces breaking off right at the beginning of the thing here, so I'm just going to put those on there because these will be our little tasting pieces. Okay? It's kind of hard to get it exactly how you want it, but see, it's going to be kind of flat on the one side. It's really, you know, if you can get it into a perfect round log shape, that would be great. Okay? So you just slice them, put them on your tray. Make sure your oven's on 350. These are going to bake probably about 12 minutes, but because they're so thin, you want to keep your eye on them to make sure you don't want to burn these cookies, okay? Because they're probably going to cook pretty quick because they're so thin. About 12 to 15 minutes, alrighty? So we'll see you when the first tray comes back out, and we'll taste a piece of it anyway, and then I'll show you the fun stuff you can do with it later on. Alrighty? Be back in a few. Alrighty, here's my timer. First batch. Let's see what we got. There you go. There it goes. Okay, throw this other one in first, and then I'll talk about these. Now, I did exactly 12 minutes on the timer because I like to get right to that point first, just to see, and then we'll kind of check them and see. These kind of deflate, they inflate when they're baking. If you peek in the oven, you'll see that they puff up really nice, but then they immediately start to deflate, which is what you want, because you want this nice, crispy, thin wafer, okay? So what I'm going to do is right onto my gluing rack, okay? Because, like I always tell you, if you leave them on there, they're going to keep on cooking. Alright, so the thing that's cool about this, I have a little bit left here, so I could probably do another tray. Oops, I'm cracking my cookies here. Okay, I could probably do another tray. The thing that's cool about this, you get like almost 4 dozen cookies, depending on how thin you slice them, which we sliced ours nice and thin. Alrighty, so I'm going to let these cool down. We're going to come back and have a taste of these and do something fun with them that you can do, because it's summertime. Alrighty? Be right back when these are all done and ready to go. Alrighty, there they are, my mess of chocolate wafers. Now see, it's funny, when I heard it was chocolate wafer day, my initial thought, I thought you got to make those waffle looking cookie things, and I was like, how the heck do you get that waffle print on there? That's going to be too hard to do. How do you do that? But this is a chocolate wafer. Okay, as you can see, it's extremely thin, which is what you want. Okay, I'm going to actually save. We'll try. Just going to try the cookie first. Okay, as you can see, snaps. Crispy, crunchy, delicious chocolate flavor. But here's what really intrigued me about this one. You take two of these things and you take some ice cream. Take a nice scoop of ice cream and you put it on one, hopefully without cracking your cookie. This is going to be hard to do because they're very crispy. Yeah, that's not going to work. Let me grab another one because I'm dying to try this. Okay, try to push it from the center so you don't crack the cookie. Gently, 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 gently. Look at that. Homemade flying saucer. For those of you that remember the flying saucer, there it is. I'm going to take a bite of this one. This is going to be messy. Oh, God. You gotta do this one. Look, if you've ever been questioning which one should you do or shouldn't do if you're not doing them all, gotta do this one for the summer. Okay, your cookie cracks all over the place, but who cares? Oh my God, the combination of the ice cream with this cookie is really unbelievable. It's even better than a flying saucer. I don't know if that's a patented name or not. If it is, I'm sorry. My flying saucer is better than your flying saucer. Alrighty, I gotta go eat my flying saucer. We'll be back tomorrow. Actually, we're doing something healthy tomorrow, I think. I think it's a salad. So if you had your fill of our trifecta of cookies, don't worry. You're gonna eat light tomorrow. Well, kinda light, I guess. See you tomorrow.